Welcome back, everyone. We have what is quite possibly the most exciting and personal battle in the UPF to date. Marc Cameron versus Lutra. Immediately after Lutra got into a different kind of altercation with Mark, and it looks like Mark is not happy to be here, not only because of the grudge he's now built up against Lutra, but because Lutra has been on a hot streak lately. It is not looking good for Mark, but however, anything is possible here at the Federation, and we're so excited to see what these trainers have in store for each other. Let's get right into it.
And right off the bat, we have Lutra throwing out an Alolan Ninetales and Mark retaliating with a Clodsire. Ninetales Snow Warning ability throws some snow on the field, which is going to make Lutra take less damage from physical attacks off the bat, and also make sure that if it has Blizzard, it is going to always hit. But instead, Lutra is going for a defensive strat with Aurora Veil up, and Mark returns with Yawn. Lutra only has one more turn before he has to switch out if he doesn't want to go to sleep, which might be trouble because Clodsire could throw out a free hit on whatever Pokemon Lutra has in store. But if Lutra decides to stay in, that's it, nighty-night. Lutra decides to pull out Ninetales, and instead we get to see Espeon, who may or may not take a significant hit. But oh wait, Lutra has read exactly what Mark is going to do. Mark tried to take this opportunity to throw out a Stealth Rock, but instead the Stealth Rock has been magic bounced back by Espeon. Excellent read by Lutra. Clodsire going for a Protect here just in case Lutra decides to go for a Psychic move, which will be super effective, and the Psychic move of choice was Psychic right off the bat there. Clodsire has protected itself, and there's no telling what will happen next. Lutra seems to have the advantage here. A great read to get some hazards on Mark's side. And Mark has pulled out Clodsire, decided that he's no longer of use, and put in King Gambit instead. The pointed stones hit King Gambit, but do not do much damage because it is a steel type. And because it's a dark type, the psychic attack Lutra had planned is no longer going to work. Now, Lutra is on the defensive side here because King Gambit can very easily check most of anything that Espeon can do. It's highly likely that Lutra will switch out here and Mark will get a free hit or a free setup of his choosing. Let's see what the trainers decide to do. Espeon is sticking around and going for a Dazzling Gleam, and it is returned with a Kowtow Cleave that will definitely cause it to faint. Without a Focus Sash, that was lights out. The snow has stopped. It would be a good opportunity for Ninetales to come back and put some more snow in, but instead we're going to see Hisuian Arcanine take the stage. Now, Hisuian Arcanine with its rock typing might be in rough shape, but with its fire typing will definitely put Mark in a tough position. Let's see if Mark decides to stay in and potentially eat a hit, or perhaps use a Sucker Punch to get the upper hand on Lutra, or switch out for something that will easily take whatever Arcanine has in store. And with King Gambit coming back into Mark's team, Dondozo appears on the stage. Dondozo will be an excellent choice for getting rid of fire and rock type damage. Flare Blitz comes in and does a decent chunk paired with the Stealth Rocks to Dondozo. Dondozo is known for being a very bulky powerhouse, but right now it is very close to being reduced to half health, and that's never any fun for any Pokemon. Now, Mark has the upper hand here with any water type move or perhaps ground type move doing significant damage to Arcanine here. And Arcanine may be able to pull something with a Wild Charge. I was expecting a rock type move, but Wild Charge is definitely going to be the right play here. And an Earthquake comes in that surprisingly does not do enough to take Arcanine down, even though it is 4 times weak to ground type moves. Dondozo going for a Protect here, and Arcanine clanking against it with a Wild Charge. It looks like that was just a free turn for both parties. Let's see what happens next. Both trainers have a decent amount of options here. Another Wild Charge coming in that almost takes out Dondozo, but Arrest is going to undo all of the damage Lutra has pulled out. With the sleep and a restoration of the HP, Dondozo is back in action. And with a Chesto Berry, it no longer has to worry about those 2 turns of sleep, meaning that it is free to do any kind of damage it likes. Lutra could go for another wild charge here, but we know by now that it's not going to be able to take a fully stocked Dondozo down for the count. Wild charge come back to put it close to half health, and liquidation is going to knock Arcanine right off of the field. Water type moves are going to be a scary thing for Arcanine to have to deal with. Now, even though Dondozo has a bit of its health chipped away, it is still in a good position, and we know that it has rest, so that if it needs to restore health again, that will be not too big of an issue. Alolan Ninetales coming back to return the snow and perhaps put in another wall with Aurora Veil, so Mark can do much less damage with any Pokemon that's chosen. And the Aurora Veil is back to create that exact scenario. Mark is going to retaliate with a liquidation, which does not do nearly as much damage as I'm sure Mark was hoping for. Ninetales is going to tough this out with Aurora Veil and the defense buff that ice types get in snow. And a freeze dry is going to do significant damage. Lutra knew very well that any ice type move would not fare well except for freeze dry, so it was an excellent pick on their part. Mark running out of options here. Even if Mark goes for rest, there's a high chance that he will die before the rest comes into effect. Instead, Protect is going to block whatever Lutra has in store, and another freeze dry was coming. Very easy to anticipate. It is highly likely that Mark will switch here. Again, a rest may not be the best option because it will most certainly cause Dondozo to faint before it's able to come out because of the speed difference. Dondozo is out, and it will have to face those Stealth Rocks when it switches back in. It looks like Volcarona is here, but unfortunately it's going to take half of its health chipped away because of Stealth Rocks being a fire and bug type double weak to rock type moves. A Citrus Berry is a nice play to check that and restore some health back. And the freeze dry that Lutra had in store for Dondozo in case it stayed in is not enough to undo the good that Citrus Berry did. It looks like a Quiver Dance is here to make sure Volcarona gets the most damage and speed possible. And another freeze dry from Lutra is going to do even less damage now that that special defense is raised. And no freeze chance means Volcarona is free to do whatever it pleases. It looks like a Fiery Dance is in store to definitely put Lutra on the edge. But instead, another Quiver Dance. Mark knows that Alolan Ninetales has very little options against fire types, being an ice fairy type. An extra sensory comes in to do a great amount of damage thanks to a critical hit that could have put Mark in a really rough spot, but instead Volcarona remains largely unscathed. Now, a Fiery Dance here or any fire move really will definitely put Lutra on their toes, and it looks like a Terastallization is going to occur. Volcarona has now switched from fire and bug to a pure fire type. Any fire type move it has in store will do significantly more damage, and it has less to worry about in terms of rock type damage. Fiery Dance is coming in here. It should tear right through that Aurora Veil, and that's it. Ninetales is down for the count, and the 50% chance for a special attack raise has occurred. Mark is in a very, very good spot here. As long as Lutra doesn't have any priority moves, Volcarona is free to safely run a sweep on Lutra's entire team. Let's see what Lutra answers this Volcarona with. This is a very tough position to be in. Lutra has not been on the defensive for much of this game, but it looks like it's time for that to change. It's very likely Mark will go for another Fire Dance here, and Lutra has protected against it, simply wasting a bit of PP, but it is still very possible for Mark to do significant damage as long as Lutra cannot outspeed the now 2x speed Volcarona or simply blow past its speed with priority. A Giga Drain has been used on this, and perhaps another one is on its way. And just like that, Luxray has been struck down. almost enough to get rid of it, but a super stealth slam will knock Volcarona right off the field. That's it. Not only is Mark's best sweeper gone, its Terra is also going to go with it. Mark has no more opportunities to Terra. And even though Luxray did an excellent move here to get rid of the biggest threat on the field, it sadly has to go down for the count thanks to the Flame Orb. Lutra has given it most likely to activate that Guts ability that makes Luxray so strong. Clodsire is back in and barely having to deal with any Stealth Rock damage thanks to its ground typing, and Lutra has retaliated with its Jirachi. Now, both trainers here have a chance to do some serious damage. Cloudsire's ground typing definitely puts a Steel type in check, and Jirachi's Psychic typing definitely puts a Poison type in check. There's no telling what's going to happen here. It looks like Lutra has a Terra of his own and is going to put out a Steel Terra Jirachi. And it's possible that Lutra will still go for a Psychic type move here, and the Zen Headbutt is definitely going to confirm that. And just like that, Cloudsire's gone. A Zen Headbutt was more than enough to simply just make it no longer a threat. Mark is now down 4 Pokemon remaining. Let's see what he answers with. Zapdos is now on the field. Definitely not something the Steel type wants to have to see. Electric type is definitely not a fan favorite, but the Psychic type damage it was able to do with that Zen Headbutt is definitely going to contribute here. Another Zen Headbutt coming out to return that Heat Wave that it so bravely took without even dropping below half health. Another Heat Wave is coming out to definitely put Jirachi much closer to death, but a Zen Headbutt is going to put Zapdos in a very similar position. It's very, very unlikely here that Lutra is going to stay in, but the Jirachi is going to have to deal with a Volt Switch, which means Terra on Lutra's side of the field is now gone, and also Zapdos is free to switch out into whatever would make Mark most comfortable here. Mark has decided to put in a King Gambit, and Lutra might have the advantage here seeing this, in that he's allowed to choose exactly what he wants to do here. And Dragapult is out to answer to King Gambit. Dragapult's ghost typing definitely makes it a little interesting, but a Fire type Flamethrower means that King Gambit is no longer an issue. A Sucker Punch there would have put Lutra in very bad shape, but it looks like Mark was not considering that to be an option. It looks like a Kowtow Cleave was on its way. That definitely also would have put Dragapult in a horrible position there, perhaps even death. But now Dondozo is back with very little health remaining thanks to those Stealth Rocks that Lutra had so cleverly placed on Mark's side of the field. Lutra also has an opportunity here to do significant amount of damage with any coverage move that the Dragapult has. The Flamethrower was a good touch. There's no telling what else it will have. It is not clear if the Dragapult has a Grass or Electric type move to put Dondozo in bad shape, but with how speedy Dragapult is, any move looks like it's going to take Dondozo out. It does not have many options left. Even a Protect won't save it when enough turns go by. Lutra, the attack will not even strike because Dondozo decided to go for a Protect here. And it looks like Lutra did have electric coverage to put water types in a bad position. Even though any move would put Dondozo in a bad position here, it is possible Dondozo will go for another Protect just to stall things out a little bit. But Lutra's Dragapult is definitely doing some heavy lifting here, especially being the last Pokemon that Lutra has available. It's very possible that a speedy hard hitter will perhaps give it the victory that it so might deserve. Let's see what happens here. Dondozo does not have a lot of options left, and even switching out could be a bit of an issue, even if he has another ground type in store. There's no telling what's going to take Dondozo out here, if it's switching out and switching back in because the Stealth Rock damage or whatever attack Lutra has in store. All the anticipation's building. Lutra and Marc have a lot of decisions to make here. Lutra does not want to lose a lot of the momentum he's built up, and Marc definitely does not want to put any of his Pokemon in a worse position than they already are. And with a Dragon Pulse, that's going to put Dondozo out of commission. There was very little it could do in this position. Lutra still has the upper hand here, despite being down one more Pokemon than Marc is at the moment. Marc's Zapdos comes in. Let's see if Zapdos can maybe avoid some damage from Dragapult, or perhaps outspeed it with the Choice Scarf. Ooh, it's very possible that Zapdos will definitely be down for the count too. It does not have a lot of health left, just like Dondozo. It's a very similar situation to what we had before. Even a Protect can only stall things out for so long. The only chance Marc really has here is if a Choice Scarf is able to give Zapdos the speed boost it needs to take care of something like this. And even then, there's no telling if Dragapult will faint as a result. Ooh, these Pokemon here are staring each other down. Very possible that Lutra has got the handle on this one here. Let's see what happens. A Shadow Ball comes out, and it looks like it's going to put Zapdos down for the count. That's it with the little amount of health it had left. This seemed like the most likely scenario. Now, Marc is down to his last Pokemon as well. This is a 1v1 to clean up the battle here. And Iron Dragoolius is out. This is definitely something we have not seen yet for the entire battle. It looks like even though the Stealth Rock damage is not great, the heightening of special attack due to the booster energy is definitely something that Marc wants to see here. It's very possible that Dragapult might be able to get rid of it with Thunderbolt, but if it doesn't, there's a chance it's going to take a heavy hit of its own. Both trainers are essentially neck and neck. There's not much that can happen here. And it looks like Iron Dragoolius is going to completely overtake Dragapult in speed and knock it out with a boosted Dark Pulse. That is it. Marc has won the battle. It is over. What an excellent match these two very tough trainers have gone through.
And with that, our championship match has to come to an end. Thank everyone so much for watching and seeing what the trainers had in store for each other and what they had to say on a personal level. We will see you guys for the next one, and we appreciate your support. Thank you and good night.